Okay, so today is day 2 of my trading summit, and I've got my team of traders here. We're searching the market, hoping to find some opportunity. It just so happens to be that we're hosting this during a time that the market's very slow, but you plan it ahead and you never know what kind of market you're going to get.
We were hunters. Now we're foraging for berries.
Yeah, we're definitely making do on trying to make do on scraps. But let's go over kind of the watch list for today. So this morning, our leading gapper is 56%. That's not bad. SMMT. So SMMT, it's a little choppy here. I'm gonna refresh over here. So it popped up initially to a high of $1.50. It dropped down. It came back up to $1.26. So it's almost an inverse head and shoulders here. It is at least back above VWAP. But what I don't like about this one is that the price is just, for me, a little too low. So that one, I unfortunately, again, beggars can't be choosers, but I just don't feel like I can probably take a trade on that one. So probably going to end up leaving it alone. Let's see. I'm just going to save this. So that's SMMT. I mean, the good news is that it's a good size gapper. 55%, 54%. That's a good gapper, but unfortunately the price isn't right.
And it has news for what it's worth. Not the greatest news, but it has something.
Yep.
What was the news?
Partnership with Akeso. So at least there's a motive into why it's moving.
Yeah, it has a reason to be moving higher.
Yeah, but the price range is tough. You gotta take giant size to make anything on it.
Yep.
Yeah, just take 10K.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. I mean, you could take 10,000.
Like 100.
Can make $100 maybe, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's worth the risk. I don't know.
I think the thing too on like a day like today, it's up 54%, the gap scanner says. To get another gapper to surpass that is going to be tough, because even though we're not crazy about it, it's up 54%. So the chances of us getting another gapper, immediately hitting the scanner at 60-70% is pretty slim today. You never know, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's a good point. We almost had a better shot yesterday when the leading gapper was only like 25 or 30%.
Yeah.
So second leader is VVNT, which is an acquisition, trading sideways. Third leading gapper Works. That used to be a kind of hot stock, but now it's down at 79 cents. So I don't have any interest in it down here. It's also right under the 200 moving average. So that one's no good. BSGM is a 56-cent stock. That's the fourth leading gapper. No interest, too cheap. ANGH. This one, I guess, just popped up a little bit. It's under VWAP. I'll have to let the daily chart load and just take a good look at it. I'm not sure if that one's gonna work for me. So it's a IPO from like January. You had a big move on it at the IPO. You had all that recent IPO action, and then it kind of has just come down to where it's at now. So that one's a maybe. By the way, for those tuning in on YouTube, I know many of you guys are joining us this week for a 14-day trial. So if you're tuning in typically on YouTube, but you're in the chat room this morning, welcome. Glad to have you. For those that are on YouTube that didn't do the 14-day trial yesterday, I'll give you the link right here. So 14-day trial. So we were streaming yesterday until, I guess it was about 4:30. So we had a nice long broadcast. We were doing, what were we talking about? We were talking about how day trading, we had a number of topics. They were panel discussions, but we talked about stagnation in trading. We talked about being a break-even trader. We talked about tips from recovering from big losses,
How trading relates to poker.
how trading relates to poker. So we had a couple of great topics, and we're going to be doing the same thing today and tomorrow. So anyone that's on the 2-week pro preview, 14-day pro preview, you guys will be able to tune in to the mentor classroom. So over on Daytrade Dash, the software, you'll go into the mentor room right here, and then that's where you'll be able to log in. So yeah, we went to about 4:45 yesterday. All right, so we'll open that room probably around 11 once trading slows down. Right now, of course, the small cap room is open. Okay, so adjust this here. And reminder, as always, trading is risky and my results are not typical. So make sure you trade cautiously and don't try to blindly follow me or anyone else. And don't trade money you can't afford to lose, because there's no guarantee you'll find success whether you trade on your own or you learn from me.
We got 20 seconds for 9 a.m.
Okay, 9 a.m. coming up, top of the hour. Let's hope for some news. SMMT, the float is also too high for me. Yeah, that's why it's
been moving.
yeah. I mean, no,
Yeah.
for sure, but
It's big.
thickly traded.
Made that mistake, yes.
Okay, so one of the things that I'll watch at the top of the hour is the gap scan, and I look for green. So BSGM has a green arrow there because it's moving up the gap scan, but just traded places with GTLB, which has a red arrow down. So I start to look for stocks that are moving up the scan quickly, and I also watch the high day momentum scanner. So, as you guys know, one of the big challenges as a beginner trader is finding stocks that are worth trading, finding good ideas. I rely entirely on these scans to help me find stocks that fit the criteria for my strategy. It's unfortunate that my strategy doesn't produce massive wins every day of the week, every day of the month, every day of the year. I think the people that make money every single day are probably like the market makers, the brokers, day traders. We go through the ebb and the flow, the ups and the downs, and I try to do the best I can. But right now, we're definitely in a little bit of a slow stretch this last month or so.
Mike made a comment one day that in days like this, the only people making money are the ones that charge commissions.
Yeah. The only people making money are the ones who charge commissions. Yeah, I think that is probably correct.
And we always got to remember that easy come.
Easy go. That's right.
Yeah.
It's almost like we've finished each other's.
Sentences.
Yeah. Yeah, except more me and Marcelo.
I just wanted to jump in.
There's a pivot here, 127 in SMMT. If you can break through it and hold it, I think we got a chance of to go all the way up to 150 pre-market highs. But even then, it's just very tight range. But if we don't get anything else,
Yeah, it is actually the third test of that pivot.
yeah.
I want to see it either get to another support to take a position, or break through and retest, because shorts are just gonna smack this. I know Chris is waiting there with like 30,000 shares or something.
Something important in trading is to remember how was the price action the day before. And SMMT reminds me of ZH from yesterday. Very, very similar price range, very similar float, very similar pre-market chart. And what did CH did yesterday? Just absolutely tanked and sold off all day. So I'm definitely gonna have my caution flag on this one. But if it breaks and holds 127, well, there he goes. I'm gonna definitely be looking to buy a dip for a target of 150.
That's a good point, Marcelo. Because we often lose sight of that, just trying to find something to trade.
Yep.
I just click buttons.
I don't like anything either. I was just kind of going through all the stocks with news, and again, nothing.
I usually don't mess with stocks under $2 for the most part, so
You don't? No.
I'm just sitting still.
Yeah, I was just thinking on SMMT, I was like, well, if I bought, I was sort of watching it there at like 24, 25. I was like, if I took 10,000 shares, realistically, I could, I mean, of course, pending like some terrible news coming out, but I could probably keep like a 2-cent stop on it, maybe 3.
Yeah.
So $300 of risk. Could I get 3 cents? Well, that would have been to the top there, like 29. Probably not. Would have gotten maybe 2 cents. Now I'd be kind of back towards break even.
The strategy,
Go ahead.
the strategy for me on price range like this is to always try to buy the bid and sell the ask, because I really don't want to pay the spread, because the spread is already such a big percentage of the move that's going to give.
Yeah.
That I want to take every penny I can. So I would be like buying the bid, putting an order out of the bid as it's dropping, probably on the first red candle after a big green surge through an obvious pivot or something, and then I will be getting filled. It's probably a big position or bigger, because I'm probably gonna get like a 5-cent winner. In order to make money with that, I need bigger size. So I'll be buying the bid and then just putting orders at the ask as it's bouncing. Because buying the ask at a breakout and then it doesn't go, breaks by a penny, is like, it's tough, because
It's basically break even,
Right.
lost trade. Yep.
right, and then the profit target is 1 cent, and then you're risking a 5-6 cent flush because you're gonna hit the bid if it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, I mean, there's nothing else.
Yeah, typically when we have a cheaper stock as a leading gapper, if I miss, and I'm not even saying like $1, anything probably below $3, if I miss like the initial spike up, the algo spike, I usually leave it alone the entire pre-market until the market open at 9:30, because if it holds up, and I feel like I have more of an eye for a gap and go setup. So
Right.
if it holds up a few minutes before the bell, I look for a gap and go, because that's my best chance of getting more than 5 cents
Yep.
out of a trade.
Mm-hmm.
But lately we haven't had good gap and goes, and SMMT, I feel like what you said, Marcelo, just looking at the price action yesterday, and it just, the other stock you were referring to just kind of tanked.
Yep.
What's not to say this one will either.
Right.
So I'm not interested in doing that today, but when we have stronger days and we have maybe a stronger gap scanner, that's what I like to look to do, just to get like a quick pop
For sure.
with a little more range. And that helps me out, because when you trade with a smaller share size, you don't get much on these cheaper stocks. And of course, you have to be comfortable trading gap and go. Not everybody is.
Right. You have to have the right tools for it, because
Exactly.
on TV Ameritrade,
Yeah.
trading the first 1 minute of the open, it's like,
Oh, yeah.
no, don't.
Yeah, I could lock up occasionally.
Yeah, or like you can set orders, and the orders would just be sitting there as the candle moves. Then out of nowhere you get filled as it's reversing, and I'm like, That's why-
When people are trying to sell.
right. That's why I have a Lightspeed account as well, because on gap and goes or in type of trades that are super fast, I like to pull up my Lightspeed account and execute off it. But on everything else, I just like to take advantage of the fake commissions. But yeah, the gap and goes is a sweet strategy. It was actually one of the few strategies that kept me break even when I was
yeah?
when I was still learning. So I was losing on everything, but making money on the gap and go. So that was
Wow.
like the thing that kept me afloat.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in this slower market, gap and goes are not that obvious. They sometimes appear, they sometimes go away. But yeah,
and,
for sure.
And yeah, the overall sentiment of the market doesn't help either, because while we may have a stock that looks strong for a gap and go, there's always that little part of you that is like, well, these haven't been working out lately, just as we've been saying. And then it can go without you because you didn't have enough conviction in the trade.
Right.
Some people in the chat are saying they are still watching ANGH. It could curl. It looks like it is here. But there,
Yeah.
will it hold though? Look at the last 3 5-minute candles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need to break 3, hold over.
Yeah, I saw that on ANGH. So your high a day on ANGH was 335.
I mean, if you bought at 287 there, you'd be up
It's not looking
3
bad.
cents on the bid.
I like it, AMGH. Feels like one of those stocks that I don't know where it can just start flying to the market highs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's lighter volume. It's moving up a little bit. Seems like there's a seller around 3.
Right.
Some red on the tape there at 91.
Yeah, I want to see like a break to 310, pull back to 3, take a starter off of the whole dollar.
SMMT keeps grinding higher.
Nice rejection.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in position.
I think that's the watch list for me. These two, SMMT and ANGH.
Say that again?
I think the watch list for me is going to be SMMT and ANGH.
Okay.
Marcello. It's so funny. Ever since people saw our interview, Ross, everybody calls me Marcello now.
I know.
And like,
I
hey,
know.
Marcello.
My apologies.
No, it's just funny. Marcello.
Is the spelling different between Marcello and Marcello?
I think I only have one L,
Okay.
and Marcello has 2 L's.
Oh, okay.
But it's just funny. I just thought of it because somebody there in the chat said, "Nice Marcello."
Shit.
Okay, so we've got about 20 minutes to the opening bell.
For what it's worth, a lot of people in the chat room were also keeping an eye on the OPS.
Hmm.
Had a secondary offering yesterday, so a little bit of a dead cap bounce continuation over 250, which was yesterday's high. But
I
Yeah.
think I'll leave that one alone.
yeah, this is
I
not a
saw
big
that
problem,
move
so-
yesterday afternoon, which was nice, that big bounce, but I don't know. That's not during even the time I would trade, and
Mhm.
I'm just resorting back to like, if I were sitting home, I wouldn't take this. So why would I take it now?
Mhm.
You know,
Peer pressure.
Peer
I'm not going
pressure.
to give in to peer pressure.
Steve, I'm Nick, by the way. This is Larissa. Timmy over there in the corner. Marcello.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
And this is your gracious host, Ross.
Thank you.
Russ, Rambo, and what was the other one?
Randy.
Randy.
Randy's. You're sitting with Randy
Oh,
today.
Rambo and Minnie?
Randy, yeah, very
What
conservative.
about Horseman?
Horseman, yeah, yeah, that
I
was.
think Horseman was my favorite.
I can't wait for a stock that
The hats will
warrants it.
come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, SMMT is pressuring whoever is short in it. So, you know, it's not giving them any money, and it still keeps creeping upwards. The CP1, yeah, there it goes. There it goes a little bit. Like I said, or like you guys pointed out, you do need to trade it a little bit differently than like an $8 stock.
Yeah.
Size is going to be bigger. You're looking for less movement.
Longer
But-
hold time.
People keep selling into that pretty far. Like it keeps
Yeah.
flashing down 5 cents.
Good morning.
Buongiorno.
So man,
Denise, Henry just arrived, by the way.
Yep. Here comes Henry.
Good morning, Henry.
Now we have the
Morning, guys.
liquidity in the market because
Yep.
Henry is
$1 million badge holder sitting down.
Please tell us you brought the momentum with you.
Yeah, right.
I
Well,
don't. I
we're
get.
gonna ask Henry just to start buying indiscriminately.
Anything you see.
Yeah, usually when the market is slow, I come into the desk a little slower.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I don't force trade.
Good
Yep.
idea.
Yeah, I find
Very good idea.
it's such a good point. Sometimes when I'm, for whatever reason, sit down really early, 6:30 or 7, I'll see something, I'll start trading, and if it's a cold market, it's like I start digging a hole,
Yeah.
and then I'm spending the rest of the day trying to.
And then
bounce
if we
back.
have a scanner like this, it's so hard to make that back.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's exactly what we were saying yesterday. Is that in this market, if you go red, there's just not a lot of opportunities. So, in a market where there's a lot of opportunities, you can feel more comfortable just taking stabs at stuff because there'll be if you red whatever, there'll be
Yeah.
another one you can make it back on. But right now, with it being slower, you might not have another opportunity. So it's 9:15. I haven't taken any trades yet, but show me something that looks good, I'll trade it.
Absolutely.
Dare me to trade.
I'm happy to trade. I love to trade, but I don't like losing money. So my job is to manage risk, and I've got a good amount of capital in my account. It's ready to go, but I don't see anything that warrants taking the risk. Especially, we have this problem with a lot of these. ANGH is kind of a good example. Sort of slightly bigger spreads for a lower price stock, not a lot of volume. It starts to go up to VWAP. Immediately there's, a hidden seller. There's not enough volume to get filled probably to buy on the bid. So you're buying at the ask, but you've got a 5-cent spread. And then all of a sudden it starts to drop down a few cents, and then you hit the bid, you get another 4 or 5 cents of slippage, and It's just-
Ross,
yeah.
do you happen to have another Ethernet cord for Henry?
let me see. Yeah, hang on, let me look.
Awesome. Thanks.
Sure. I'm gonna move my station over so you have a little bit more room here.
No problem. I think problem with day trader is like you have to use a lot of space.
I know. Yesterday I had 2 spaces here to myself.
So we have to spread out a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. 15 minutes.
Yep.
When did you guys get here?
I made Marcelo get up early. We got here at 7 a.m.
You
Yeah. Oh no, Timmy, he came on his own. He has a rental car.
Oh, so you're like
But I wanted
7:30.
to get up early. 'Cause
Oh, it's with gas. It works.
rental cars aren't that.
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't drive a car
I
here?
didn't even think about that.
Well, it's one less thing you have to worry about. It might be pricier. But
Yeah, I mean you're under
Yeah.
25 too.
Where are you
so
going back?
They don't make it cheap.
Where are you going back to?
Well, I'm actually not going back to Canada after this. I'm going back to El Salvador. It's for Christmas, and then I'm going
Okay.
back home.
Okay.
Sir, representing Latin America.
So when you go back to El Salvador, do you need to have an active Bitcoin account?
No, you don't have to. I mean, we actually have the U.S. dollar as currency. or-
Right. That's your
Okay.
actual currency.
Right, but
Wait.
you could use Bitcoin if you wanted. But yeah, it's honestly it's more like a joke. But
So you're like one of the countries that legalized Bitcoin as like an official
Right.
currency.
the first one, yeah,
Oh, okay, so that's
Are there any
okay.
other countries?
I
I
don't think so.
I mean, not now.
Yeah.
No one's signing up on that wait list.
I was just saying, hey guys, I like trading and everything, and they were like, all right, say less, Bitcoin.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay. We're waiting for the warrior coin.
The what? The warrior coin?
Yeah. NFT of a painting of Ross.
I think NFT would work. Ross is pretty iconic.
Okay.
Are you connected on this internet here?
I have a blue Ethernet. Yeah. If we need to unplug it, we can put a router on it where we can split or whatever.
This point. Wait till the open.
What?
So at this point, just wait till the open.
Yeah.
10 minutes to the bell.
All right, thanks.
You do trade on right?
I mean, most of my profit, probably 90%, maybe 80%,
Pre-market.
So,
Got it.
but that's also because TradeStation was not very good when the market opened. Like level
Really?
2 would just stall out, and I wouldn't be able to trade for like the first 3 to 5 minutes. But also work has to do with that.
You-
Honestly, you know what? I really don't mind just using the Wi-Fi and giving Henry mine because he's more likely to take a trade today than me anyway. So if
That's
that works
great.
with
I mean,
you.
you don't
Then
think-
that way you don't have to fiddle around with it.
I mean, Wi-Fi
Give me 1
was-
second,
Yeah,
Henry.
Wi-Fi was good for me yesterday.
Guess I owe you a dinner.
Oh no, you don't. You don't.
You better make some money then.
So
I really didn't even notice the difference when I was on Wi-Fi yesterday versus Ethernet. It was
Yeah.
equally fine.
Yeah,
So
no, it's been pretty
here you
good.
go.
thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Now SHPH looks like it wants to take a little break here.
Right. So just share the profits,
For SMMT.
Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only thing. You got a 50% profit.
It's
split
definitely
on that Ethernet
better
port.
hotkeys, Eric, on DAS than TradeStation for sure. A lot more options.
What?
Eric was asking about TradeStation hotkeys compared to TD or DAS. It's definitely a lot more stuff you can customize on TD or DAS.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Do you ever have issues with orders executing on DOS?
Yeah, sometimes I've been in the middle of the trade and the gas just disconnects from
Yeah.
TD. So that's why you have to keep TD open at all
I
times,
have a main order execution
Right.
open as well.
just to flatten or something like that.
Right, exactly. Sometimes like I'll hit it and it won't register, and then like I go to like a smaller share size, or like I do it on TD and then it registers.
Yeah.
And it's like the worst times, and I'm like, like is it like trying to just do that or?
It is. I mean, it's not perfect, but for the most part, it works. So I think it's worth it. But yeah, that's a risk. I mean, you cannot just trade with DAS. You have to have both open
Right.
at all times.
I think we got it sorted. Thank you.
Just in case. Yep.
Oh, you got another long one? Okay, good. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Unless we get like a surprise squeeze today, like maybe ANGH, something similar to that. That's all I'm looking at right now. I still have MYNZ on the side. I don't think it'll do anything, but
MYMC.
yeah. These usually don't do anything, especially nowadays, but sometimes they do. And I'm not looking for it to hold up, just a quick pop, and if it rejects, it rejects, but at least I could get 20 cents out of it. That's kind of what I look at for them.
Yep.
Oh, Mang is here, I think.
Oh, SMMT. Just playing along.
Yep.
It's up 56%.
Yeah, I
now.
mean, if you were holding it from 10 minutes ago, you got 10 cents. And on a big share size, sure.
No,
And
I
with
don't think
longer
that
risk
would be the way
exposure.
I don't think that would be the way to play it. I think you just gotta like, because it keeps bouncing
Scalp.
between support
Yeah.
and.
And that's
top.
exactly
You-
why I
you-
leave these
you can
alone.
Just get 5 cents each time or so, or 5.
Because it's like on that candle, that 1 minute candle at 9:13 a.m., it hit the high of 136. Why wouldn't you sell there? And instead of holding for it to come all the way back down to your average price, only for it to go back up again,
Yeah.
like that's not the way. Yeah. I see like some trend traders that would have that type of strategy, but that's why I just leave these ones alone.
What do you think, Henry? You see anything you like?
Well, I'm just watching SMMT and BCDA, honestly.
BCDA.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was on the scanner earlier.
And maybe ANGH based on the gap scanner this morning.
Yep.
Also, I'm watching EH, SHPH, and DBGI from yesterday, and
Yep.
of course tops just because of the spike.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
SATX is still a wild card stock. Had a nice move yesterday from 20 up to 30. High was 31.11. Shares available to borrow at Lightspeed at 55 cents a share. What's the cost for other folks? Let's see what people say.
Do you get any like actionable information out of that?
About availability or
Like,
cost?
of shade, like, you
Yeah, so what I
your
so
behavior based on that?
yeah, so what I basically the way I think about it is, when you have some of these like HUDI or SATX, oftentimes when they're moving up, they'll be hard to borrow. So most brokers won't even have shares, like Lightspeed or E-Trade, TD Ameritrade. You won't even have shares. But brokers, like Lightspeed and others, might have shares, but I gotta check the price. If the price is $2 per share to borrow, then 10,000 shares would cost you $20,000 to borrow. That'd be crazy. So effectively, unless you're incredibly confident, and what some people, of course, would do is they would just borrow, 100 shares at a time as they're scaling in. But the risk with that is that if they run out of inventory and you've just started scaling in, you can't keep averaging in at the top. So usually you'd want to put aside a good block, but it'd be too expensive. So if I see that shares are very hard to borrow, that nobody has borrows, or that they're super expensive, it just makes me think that you will not have as many short sellers hitting it to the short side, which means if it starts to go parabolic, if it starts to open up, it could get really pretty explosive because you're not going to have that big money coming in, who's a big money short seller and bringing it back down. That doesn't mean you won't potentially have
Like long
longs bailing out, insiders who've been holding for a while bailing out, institutional traders who are marketing out. You could still have sell side resistance from that. But one of the nice things with the recent IPO is that there's a lockup for insiders. So those are the people with the most shares. They won't be selling. But there's still other there can still be other sell side pressures. So I don't know. So it's just something I thought about with SATX because it made a big move yesterday.
CHEK just popped up on the scanner.
CA?
CHEK.
Oh, check.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it in a hurry, just to take a quick look, but I don't know about it.
So what do I like about it? Well, there's some things I like about it. Recent reverse split. Is it a Chinese stock? I can't remember.
Let's make some money.
It's not
Lucky.
a Chinese
No.
stock.
Okay.
I don't see
Israeli,
fresh
yeah.
news on it either.
Right.
It just popped up quick though. Sometimes when that happens, the algo spike goes quick. So
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, it's too big of a spread on check.
Yeah. So and unfortunately, market makers are leaving it with a big spread.
Yeah,
So 46 cents.
probably gonna be a dud.
Yeah.
2 minutes for the bell. Let's trade smart. Let's trade setups. Game
Yep.
time.
Good
90
reminder,
seconds.
Marcel. Yep.
Yeah. So you got to know the pattern. If you can't name the pattern, you shouldn't be taking the trade. All right.
Yeah.
So that's the game plan. Warrior members, we're going to keep streaming here. Members on Day Trade Dash, we'll keep streaming as well. Those on YouTube, we're going to end the morning show. We'll be back at it first thing tomorrow. If you want to join us for a 14-day trial, there's a link down in the comments. You could check it out, and then you could continue to stream the rest of the day today. And we're going to be streaming until probably 4 o'clock again, doing Q&A and panel topics and things like that. So hope to see you guys in the chat room. Reminder as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so make sure you take it slow.